Hey there guys, I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And I'm just going to be straightforward immediately. This game is absolutely extraordinary. I'm actually lost for words actually playing this game, just how brilliant it is. Everything about this game is just flawless, from its story, from its narrative, from its direction, from its visuals, from its gameplay. I really am just blown away just how great this game is. Now, obviously, this is Sandford Interactive's first game, and they did take the inspiration of this game from like Final Fantasy and Persona. But I really feel like this game has its own identity, and it really does stand up on its own merit. Like clearly that they taken the inspiration from those series and put it together into this game. And honestly, the whole thing that it comes to is just an amazing experience. I really do love Clair Obscur Expedition 33. But yeah, let's actually start talking about this game. So immediately when you start playing Expedition 33, it really comes out strong with such a really impressive direction and a good story. So the story follows a group of expeditioners who are who are the volunteers of Expedition 33, and they are set out to destroy the Paintress. And the Paintress does a yearly gamage which erases the people from prior expeditions from a decreasing age. And the people who are from those prior expeditions who try to set out their way to destroy the Paintress or kill the Paintress have failed. And now you have a group of characters and volunteers who are part of Expedition 33 who are now set out to kill the Paintress, and before it performs the gamage on them, on their expedition. So it really is just a story that you could really follow. The characters you also follow do have their own sort of characters that are really developed well with very good voice acting, as well as just really kind of, you know, building up a team together to really go on this sort of journey up to the Paintress, and it really just works so amazingly well. I mean, throughout the story, I really felt there was like a lot of emotional weight added to it, like with a lot of the characters. And I don't want to kind of get into spoilers because there are like some things that do happen throughout the game that would kind of make you feel a little bit emotional throughout the game. But all in all, just a really impressive set of characters and voice acting that really sets this story on this journey very well. And usually with video games, I never really felt like that with games before, that really sets itself up with a strong narrative and voice acting. So it's very different to see from a single player game that it really delivers on that. And also the story, it never detracts itself. It really does stay focused on this sort of journey and this sort of perspective throughout the game, really. And I think it's very refreshing to see for once. But yeah, they've executed the story of this game brilliantly. I actually really got engaged with the story and narrative of Expedition 33. But I want to talk about the next thing I really love about this game, which is the gameplay. So this is a turn-based game. I feel like a lot of turn-based games now, well, actually not turn-based games, but RPG games in general have kind of neglected to use the turn-based formula. Like even like newer Final Fantasy games, they kind of got away with it for hack and slash. Not like I have got a problem with it, but I feel like there's still, you know, with turn-based games, there's still a feeling of the gameplay that it never gets old for me. But I feel like this is one of the most satisfying turn-based games I've played in a while. It's very strategic. It's got a lot of thoughts that you have to go into it, how you plan your battles, like whether you're fighting enemies or bosses. There's a lot of complexity to it. And essentially you have your party members that you can set out when you perform your combat scenarios with your enemies or bosses. They all have their own abilities, so you can pick their weapons, you can upgrade their weapons. Some of their weapons will also have an elemental power to it. You also have Pictos, which are like perks that will grant like extra AP points. Essentially, extra AP points for parrying and dodging. Other perks such as having a second chance if your character dies and they come back alive again. So, and also with your character, you can also level up your character and unlock skills as well, which essentially these skills are used with AP points, and essentially they will grant you like extra damage on your enemies, or allows for health regeneration for your party members, or revival. Just various things that you can use. And you can set these out as a class that you can have for your characters, and then when you set out to perform a fight, essentially. And the turn-based formula that they use in this game is amazing. Like, really good. It never got boring, and I always got fully engaged. So with your characters, when it's their turn, you can use normal attacks. Normal attacks will always build up an AP point. You can also use skills, which uses a certain amount of AP points, which, again, like I said, you could use it for attacks that require extra damage or healing. But not only that, but they also provide quick time events. So you actually have to perform button action events as well. And you have to time them perfectly if you really want to get the perfect execution. Because if you could time it wrong, then your execution will be poor, or even sometimes you won't even be able to perform damage or the use of the skill on an enemy or your party members. So there's a lot of things that you really have to be really on time with the skills or the combat of this game, because you have to like perform executions like quick time events very precisely. But also when it comes to the enemy encounters, it requires a lot of strategy and a lot of force as well. So most of the time throughout this game, when an enemy performs an attack, you mostly likely will perform parrying and dodging. Those are like two of the most common things I've seen throughout the gameplay. So dodging, it will allow you to have more time to avoid an enemy's attack. But you also have to like time it more precisely. Like if you're ever slightly early or slightly late on a dodge, you will effectively get damaged. And the enemy will perform damage on your party members. But also, if you use parrying, which actually has to be more precise than dodging, then you have to like time that precisely and more perfectly. And throughout the game, you'll get a feel of an enemy's rhythm throughout the game to know when the right time to parry will happen. And you're probably thinking, why do you parry more than dodging? Well, if you build up more of a parry window, essentially from a phase of a fight that an enemy encounters, then you build up a stagger window. And that stagger window can be used to essentially create where the enemy will miss its turn. So you build up a stagger window, but also when you perform parrying to build up that stagger window, you also perform a counter attack, which will mean it would do additional damage to an enemy, whether it's an enemy or a boss. So there's a lot of things that really come into it. But yeah, the turn-based formula that they used in Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is absolutely brilliant. I absolutely loved the gameplay, and like I said, I never got bored of it after playing for a while. But yeah, other compliments I also have for this game as well. Visually, this game is impressive. Like, probably one of the best visual games I've played in a while. And also the performance of the game was stable as well. Like, the game was not running at a 60 FPS, but it ran a consistent performance where there wasn't really any frame drops or anything, or like the game was unplayable under any circumstances. There was like, it was mostly a pretty smooth gameplay, even though despite it not hitting 60 FPS on my Xbox Series X, it was able to handle it very well. So, yeah. Also, other things I also want to say, the soundtrack and the music is just brilliant. It's just like utterly amazing. Like, even like in one of the boss encounters, there was like a really cool music where there was like some cool guitar playing that happened throughout a boss encounter that just gave me goosebumps and shivers. And it just made me like more tense, like more focused, just thinking to myself, wow, like this is just a truly satisfying experience. So I really loved most of the visuals, the music in this game, and also like other aspects I want to talk about the gameplay as well, not just the turn-based formula. There's a lot more content and things that you could explore throughout the game. So you have a massive world map where you essentially are at, and you explore different regions throughout the game, where mostly sometimes you would do your main objectives, which is a story, but then you also have side objectives and side quests. Now, I didn't explore a lot of the side quests or objectives throughout the game, or some of the optional bosses, but there is a lot more added stuff that you can do in this game that really can increase more of your playing time and makes you maybe make you feel more satisfied playing the game. So it just shows you that Soundfall Interactive have really put a lot of things into this game to really kind of give the player like the best experience. But overall, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is just a masterpiece. I really got so much compliments about this game. I also will say, if you're a massive fan of RPG games or turn-based games, this is an absolute must-play. 100%. But yeah, absolutely amazing game. If you have played or finished Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I really like to hear your thoughts about this game. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you want to dislike. Thank you for watching. And yeah, that's about it. See you later.